just want to talk about one of the other aspects of that particular day, and you've touched upon it, about the fact that you shut UK airspace. And it's in itself an extraordinary thing to do. But I gather there was a passenger jet that wasn't responding.
This was at a later time when we then had to put in place a whole lot of protocols, really, in a sense. I mean, frameworks for action in circumstances where you lost contact with the plane or a plane was not in proper contact with air traffic control. And there was a moment later in my premiership where we weren't in proper contact with the plane. It appeared to be deviating from the path that it was in, and then as I say, there was a set of actions where people were upgrading the seriousness of it until you finally get in touch directly with the Prime Minister. And we were really not very far away from having to take a final decision as to whether to bring the plane down, because we had the provision to do that. We'd already, I think.
Had jets been scrambled?
I think they had been, actually, yeah, or certainly prepared en route to take off, yeah.
How close did that come?
It came quite close, actually. I mean, it was a situation where, I ended up talking directly to the officer who's in charge of the operation, and trying to work out whether the plane in question was just for some reason a mishap, which obviously was the overwhelming likelihood, but what if it wasn't? So it was an extremely frightening moment.
Would you have given the order?
I don't know. I don't know. I think we'd already passed the first threshold of when I was supposed to take the decision, and I was kind of pushing it back as much as I could for obvious reasons. And I think probably in the end I would have just taken the risk that indeed it was as it turned out to be, just they'd lost touch with air traffic control, because the consequence of shooting it down and then finding that it had been
a faulty radio system or whatever.
But look, these security questions were there the whole time. After the 7/7 bombings, the single most difficult thing I had was on several occasions when a threat would come in and people would say, well, are you going to shut down the London Underground? And my anxiety was that once they knew they could just make the telephone call and you were shutting it down, then you were going to disrupt people in a really, really severe way. And so I then said, well, we're going to keep it open, even though we have had some intelligence that there is a potential attack.